Hello, everyone. This is Nitya Ravori. A warm welcome once again to Hyderabad Runners' weekly webinar series, Beyond the Track. We hope you all are taking measures to stay safe and healthy. Hyderabad Runners promotes running, fitness, and active lifestyles through its thousands of volunteers, mentors, and ambassadors. Couch 25K, Club Run, Outdoor Kids, Train and Shine, Kids Run, and our signature Airtel Hyderabad Marathon (AHM) are just a few of our initiatives. In our endeavor to keep you constantly aware and educated, we bring you Beyond the Track, a 1 hour live webinar series of conversations with some of the highly distinguished experts from running and sports field to help you all equip with both theoretical knowledge and practical training. This is also Women's Month, so we have all webinars of this month dedicated to women achievers. In this 47th episode of Beyond the Track, we are honored to connect you to three very inspiring women: Miss Sunita Tumalpali, Miss Divya Bholareti, and Miss Chaitra Nataraj. As we endeavor to create a smooth learning experience for you all, continue to post your questions to them in the comments section. Miss Anuradha Kalidindi is an ultra marathoner who has been running for more than 14 years now. She has finished more than 69 marathons so far. She sees running as a way of life. She will be interacting with our guests and facilitating today's session. Without further ado, I'd like to invite her to introduce and welcome our speakers for today. Over to you, Anuradha.
Thank you so much, Nitya, for all the kind words you have for me. A very good evening to all of you out there. I'm really honored to host this women-centric special edition Beyond the Track webinar series for Hyderabad Runners with three remarkable women across the three generations. As you all know, this year Women's Day theme is Choose to Challenge. To challenge oneself, one needs to change. And these remarkable women have done exactly that. They have challenged themselves, changed, and turned their ordinary lives into extraordinary. We are truly privileged to have you as a guest on this webinar. A very warm welcome to you all. Our first guest today is Ms. Sunita Tumalpali. She is a multifaceted woman. She's a Reebok certified trainer, an amateur photographer, a social worker, and a mother to three kids. Above all, she's a marathoner and an ultra runner. She has finished 54 full marathons, which includes 8 ultra marathons. Her longest ultra has been 130 kilometers, and that too on the hills of the Kodai. She has run on all the 7 continents, including Antarctica. She has finished the prestigious world majors. Friends, she's the first woman from India to have finished the world majors and also the 7 continents. Kudos to you, Sunita. Our next guest today is Ms. Divya Bholareti. She again is a remarkable, gorgeous lady who wears many hats. She's the head of a digital media company. She's a creative chef, an artist, and a mother to 2 kids who are both national and state level swimmers. But the feather on her cap is she's a short distance sprinter who glides on the track with utmost ease. Though she has done long distance running, her forte is track and field events. She has won gold at the Asian Masters Athletics 2019 and also at the National Masters Athletics for 400, 800, 1500, and 5000 meters. We call her the gold lady because she keeps winning gold medals all the time. A very warm welcome to you, Divya. Moving on to our next guest for today, from the third generation, is the young Miss Chaitra Nataraj. She's young, effervescent, and a very dynamic lady. She's a senior project manager at an IT company. She's an avid trekker, an artist, and a mother to a lovely girl. Though she has started running only in 2019, she has surpassed many of us in terms of her timing. She's a speedster too and has won podiums in all the races that she has participated. What is extraordinary about this young lady is when most of us took a break from fitness during COVID times, this girl bought herself a road bike, trained herself, and within less than 5 months, she became a super randonner, which means she has completed brevets of 200 kilometers, 300, 400, and 600 kilometers in the season within the stipulated time. Transitioning from running to cycling in 5 months and earning the title of a super randonner is only something brave hearts can dare to do. Welcome to our show, Miss Chaitra. Girls, are we all ready to share our secrets of fitness today with all our viewers?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Good. The first and the most obvious question to all of you: how and when and what got you into running? And now that you're into running and cycling, are you here to stay? Sunita, could you just tell us how it all started?
Yeah, it all started in 2008 when I went on a trek to Everest Base Camp along with my friends, and you are one of them. So we all went on a trek to Everest Base Camp, and on the second day of trek, we witnessed a marathon. We were like, we came to know about the marathon, and we got the Indian flag ready, and of course the flag was in square shape. It doesn't matter. That's all we could get at that point. So we stood at the finish point with the Indian flag to cheer all the runners and Indian runners. And we saw how they were finishing the race. We were so amazed with their fitness levels. Then during next few days, we've been like, we were trekking on the same route, which was like so difficult. We were huffing and puffing just to take few steps. And we couldn't help like, thinking about those people running on the same path for 42 kilometers. So I thought being a fitness trainer, I was very fit. But after seeing that route and how they ran 42 kilometers, I said, we have to go back to Hyderabad and do at least a half marathon at the sea level. So after coming back, Anu and I started training for half marathon. And we did half in 2008 in Hyderabad. So that's when the running bug bit us very hard. And yes, we are here to stay.
That's wonderful, Sunita. How about you, Divya?
Well, I started running or trying to run rather after my second delivery. After I delivered my son, my thyroid gland got affected. My thyroid hormone was fluctuating a lot. And I couldn't be medicated because I was nursing him. And also they were fluctuating so much that it needed to come to some kind of, it needed to settle down a bit. There was nothing that could be done by the doctors. So I started researching on my own to try to see what could help me. I was facing major weight fluctuations, mood swings, and that was not how I wanted to be with a newborn son. I had an old treadmill in the house. My research showed that all these symptoms were due to a slow metabolism. And if you kick-started the metabolism or revved it up, some of these symptoms should get better. So I started on the treadmill. I could hardly sustain it for 10 minutes initially, huffing and puffing. But I decided to just be on it and just spend that 10 minutes initially, and then again in the evening another 10 minutes. That's how I built myself up slowly. The goal was just to be on the treadmill, whatever the effects could be, the positive effects. I just wanted to take it in. Then I slowly came up to 20 minutes, slowly 30 minutes. By then, the gland also got stabilized and I could get medicated and things were easier. Then I just stuck to 5Ks for a long time on the treadmill. Then by chance, one of my trainers, he suggested that I burn 800 calories on the treadmill one day. And I was just watching a movie in the gym and running on the treadmill. And before I knew it, I had done 8.5 kilometers. And I had no idea that I could cross anything beyond 5 at that point. And then at the same time, one of my friends who was into road races at that time, she suggested that I join her. She was going for a 10K. I thought, okay, let me try it out. So I went there and I was extremely surprised to realize that I was a podium finisher. They gave me a 2,500 rupee check, and it was quite shocking actually. That's how I started off, and then the half marathons, the full marathons, and then you turn to sprinting. It all happened without too much plan, but it just happened. The goal was to keep running. The distances kept changing. and we kept continuing. And your other question as to are we here to stay? My question is why not? It's been such a positive experience, had this active lifestyle. There's no reason to have to stop anytime. So yeah, that's how my perspective.
That's wonderful, Divya. What about you, Chaitra? How did you get into this?
So it started in 2019. It was a tough schedule, work schedules at that point in time, very busy schedule, and due to improper nutrition or food planning, it so happened that my husband had put on weight, and because he had to shed down a few of that pounds, so we decided that as a couple, we'll take up some fitness regime, and so that's when we decided that let's get into running, and running came naturally to us, to both of us actually. So we thought, let's start with running. And it was not that I was introduced to running at an early point in my life. In fact, during my school and college also, I've done sprinting. So I've done 100, 200s and relays. But then, through the course of your life, it takes a back seat. You don't realize the importance of sports or fitness in your life until, one fine day, things just happen, and then you realize and understand the importance of it. So that's when it all started. And but then what happened is, we both were running together, but then just both of us running as a couple, it kind of got boring. So that's where our friends introduced us to the prominent Hyderabad Runners, and we got introduced to all the groups. And I registered for the first competitive race running event. That was the first time ever I was actually going for a competitive run. And club run happened. I participated in club run 2019. And that's where the journey started, running journey. And definitely looking forward to many more races, and love to be part of taking sports as a regular activity, in my regular lifestyle.
It's so wonderful to hear all your stories, and it's even more heartwarming to know that all of you are going to be in there. But Chaitra, if there was one event where you felt, yes, this is it, I've done it, which one would it be, and what made it so special and memorable for you?
In fact, there are many, but obviously, there'll be something special, as you just said. For everyone, their first is always something special. So when it was in 2019 December, when I ran the SBI Green Marathon, and I just ran a 10K, and I started with a 10K, and then when I actually, my goal was to just give my best there. No plans, no targets, nothing. And then, when I realized that I'm a podium finish and got a gold there, it was definitely a time of, a feeling of runner's high. So that's something which would be very close to my heart. And I think you already mentioned in the introduction, the getting the title of a Super Randover or Randovies in last year, in 2020, was something very special for me.
Yeah, that's true. My first race, I had tears rolling down my street. Your first one is always very special. What about you, Divya? What was your special event?
I have two, Anu. One would have to be my first full marathon. It was in Mumbai. It was then called SEMM. I had trained very well for it, and by God's grace, it was very well executed also. I had a lot of fun during the race. I was chatting with my friends on my phone. I was Facebooking. I ran across the road and I took some photos with the Kenyans. So it was a very fun event, and I did it in a pretty good time. And Hyderabad Runners actually gave me an award for it, for the best debut full marathon. I thank you, HR, for it. The second one has to be my Asian gold. For someone who has never run before 35 years of age, I don't have a single sports certificate to my life. For someone like that to go and win, that too in athletics, it was something of an eye opener for me, a confidence booster. And it was a very special time for me when I was training for it, because I was alone. I used to train by myself in my county on the concrete roads. It was a very rigorous training schedule, and had to be done every day. It was very hard, mentally and physically. At this point, I used to pray every day to God that I wouldn't end up in injuries, and that I could sustain this training and improve my timings. There were times when I'd given up mentally. I thought, enough of my training, I'll just go do the race and see how it goes. But I used to do daily Bible reading, and God always seemed to answer me like a good mentor, always listening to me. All my complaints I used to pour out, and like a very wise man, I used to get something back from the Bible that used to keep me going. So it was a very spiritual experience for me as well. Felt very close to God, and it was very special time. It was a very special time. Did I lose you?
No, no, you're with us. You're with us. We're enjoying your story.
And then actually winning the gold was just the icing on the cake. So yes, these two races are very special to me and will always be memorable.
Oh, that's wonderful, Divya. Sunita, what's yours?
As you know, we all have like good races and bad races, but I can think about three races that are very close to my heart. One being the Everest Base Camp Marathon, which inspired me to get into long distance running. It always has a special place in my heart. The views are so amazing, and you don't even think you are running. You are just enjoying the views, and like finishing that race, the race that inspired me to run long distance, is very, very special to my heart. And there are a couple of ultras I feel very good about. One is Ooty 112 kilometers, which I ran on my daughter's 12th birthday. That's very special to me. Whole family was there with me during the run, and it was very special. And the very, very, I am very proud of one event is Kodai Ultra. That is the longest and toughest race I have ever done. The route was very, very tough, very difficult inclines, and there was also a bison scare throughout the race. I trained very well. I felt very strong throughout the race, both physically and mentally. And throughout the race, I never felt how long do I have to do it. It was like most memorable run of all. So finishing that 130 kilometers that strong is really, really wow moment to me.
Oh, that's wonderful, Sunita. I know 130 kilometers hills of Kodai is something unthinkable for me at least. But to have been there was not easy, right, Sunita? When you started running 12 years ago or 13 years ago, you were 40 years old. How did the society or your family feel about your running when you started this activity? What do you think were their perspectives? Was it encouraging or not so encouraging?
Yeah, when I started running in 2008, not too many women runners in Hyderabad especially. So people are not used to, having runners, especially women at age of 40. So sports were meant for youngsters or school kids or the youngsters basically. So when I started running, of course, my family was like 100% supportive. They understood. But society, extended family or relatives, friends were a little concerned, genuinely concerned about my safety, health. So I had to tell them this is okay. I'm taking precautions. I'm eating healthy. I'm listening to my body. So they would say your knees will fall off. No, it is not safe. And I used to tell, no, runners never complain about knee pains. It's the others who don't do anything complain about knee pain. So it is safe. I mean, running is safe way to exercise. as long as you follow certain, safety precautions and all that. And they were also concerned about me leaving my family, I mean, kids to travel and all that. And I always felt it is like, when I traveled, my husband would take care of kids. It's father and kids bonding time. So I didn't feel bad about it. So a lot of criticism about like, my travel and like, safety, or so many genuine reasons they had. But after few years of like, seeing me achieving and like, feeling happy and staying fit, they could understand what positive changes it is bringing to me. So they started like, encouraging. They are like proud of my achievements. Initially, they had concerns, society, family. Yeah, but later on, they started encouraging, seeing results, achievements. So
Yeah,
now
so
it is much easier because a lot of people are into running. They accept it better. But 12 years back, it's not the same.
yeah, that's true, Sunita. Yeah, earlier it was perceived as something which, it was just a field event or a track event. People would not think of long distance running, and their concerns were genuine at that point of time. Yes.
Yes.
Divya, but you started running since you started running in 2008, but 2013 was when you started racing, right? You've done short distances, you've done long distances, and then you shifted your gear to track and field events. You're a speedster. A lot of us here want to know what drives you, or what you eat to give you that energy to run at that pace. Could you tell us, or could you let the cat out of the bag and tell your secret as to how or what kind of nutrition you follow? Is there a specific diet that you stick to?
Um, so I don't follow any of these trendy diets, the no sugar, no fat diets, nothing like that. I believe in balanced nutrition. My kids being competitive swimmers, they swim about 4 hours every day. So I need to give them a lot of nutrition, proteins and carbohydrates being the big chunk of their nutrition every day. We don't have a traditional spread out on the table, where you put out all your curries in nice crockery, and then you put your rice and yogurt, and you all sit together and eat. That is not kind of meals we have. Instead, straight from the kitchen, I serve almost restaurant style plates, and each plate has balanced proportions of all the nutrients needed based on the workouts that we are done for the day. So for my kids, I plan how much carbohydrates they need, how much protein they need. I make sure they have those green leaves, their vegetables. And and when I'm making it for them, I pick out the same things for myself based on my requirements. And I also make sure we are rotating all our carbohydrates. So we don't eat the same rice every day. One day it's wheat, one day it's millet. Same with proteins. I make sure we are rotating. So I kind of have a weekly plan. It's kind of my hobby to create that plan, the meal plan for the whole family. My husband is a very avid gymmer, so he also needs a lot of nutrition. And then during the day, I make snacks and keep for all of us. So we are meeting our daily requirements with even the micronutrients that we need. And one thing I'm very particular is the post-workout meal. I make sure I prepare it and keep it ready for all of us. We all work out at different times of the day, but I make sure it's ready for all of us. Usually it is proteins and carbohydrates that I concentrate on, but it's also to do with calcium, milk, and a lot of micronutrients also. And we make sure all of us have it within 30 minutes of finishing our meals, our workouts. So that's something we're all sticklers to. We also take regular supplements, not every day, but just pop those supplements in regularly. So, there's no lack of certain nutrients that we might miss in our meals. So we make sure that is covered too. And by nature, my husband and I, we are not into greasy foods or sugary sweets, and we don't like to eat out much. So my kids also got the same luckily they got the same habits, and so we're very happy with our homemade restaurant style meals, as a lot of my Facebook friends know.
We do, we do.
That's my secret, guys. Try it out.
Yeah. So, Divya, we're always drooling when you see your pictures. They look so good, and so much thought goes into your planning. It's not just, it's not just any food. It's food, which is nutritious for everybody. I'm sure that's the secret, to your speed running, and to your kids and to your husband too. So that's wonderful. I wish they had some pictures of your, all the good stuff that you make and post on Facebook. Oh, Chaitra, the next question is for you. There it is. There is, yes.
That's
She's
a
having at a
post-workout
time when
meal.
most of us are hungry and then say, oh my God, not again.
That's a
That's
post-workout snack.
That's wonderful. I'm really glad you have the energy and the patience to do all that. Hats off to you. Yeah. Coming on, Chaitra, you took up running in 2019 and then cycling in 2020. You're a novice when compared to the others out here, but you've reached greater heights in a very short span of time. Did you follow any specific training programs to get you there? And how was it transitioning from running to cycling?
Thanks. Cycling happened, as you mentioned, in 2020. It was obviously the unprecedented COVID times, challenging times. And instead of brooding over it and, not sure what to do, I figured out that, especially when the lockdown relaxed a bit, I was like, okay, I've been doing running. Now what? How do I make it better? How do I improve on myself? So that's when I thought, let me start cross-functional training. And that's when cycling happened. And what started as kind of fun and more to do with how can I explore my own city better, explore different places, then got serious when I actually got introduced to different cycling groups, understood more about cycling. I was actually oblivious at that point in time. I was even oblivious of the fact of, there's something called SR, there's something called a brevet, all of that. But then, once you start putting your heart and soul to it, once you find your passion, everything seems to work your way. So that's when I figured out that, okay, let me try this, let me try a brevet, which is organized by Audex, doing a 200, 300, 400, and 600 kilometers. And by December, I was a super endeavor. So coming to the training plans itself, yes, through my journey, starting from running, cycling, I followed different training plans, yes, but also learned through the process. Not that, once anyone starts, you would know everything. You would not know, what this kind of run is, what an interval is, what a tempo is. You would not come with all this knowledge. You're literally, a person who just wants to run. So you learn through the process. And the best part is, once you are in these groups, what encourages is, your peers start teaching you, you learn from each other, share your point of views, understand from them, and then you figure out what works best for you. And that's how I have adapted and learned through the process. No doubt this is not the end. At the end of the day, it's a learning process, and we continue to learn at whatever stage we are in our sports journey. We continue to learn, and that's what will keep me rolling. And I think that's what it is. And particularly about the transition itself, from running to cycling, I think I had never biked before. I think the last was, when I was going to school, to go to school. That was when I cycled last. And then suddenly to start, especially at this point in age, to start cycling was a bit of I was a bit nervous. But then I think for me, it's more of every time I need that adrenaline rush, to learn different things, to try things. Unless I push myself I don't feel happy. So, and also I love trying new things. So let's say I start with running, cycling. Tomorrow, maybe I'll be interested to do add one more addition into sport. So that's where, I love exploring and I continue to do that.
That's wonderful, Chaitra. But while you were out there running and cycling, what kind of challenges did you feel? Were there any limitations? What are the kinds of problems that you've experienced when you were on the road? And if could you just tell us what some of them were and how you overcame these limitations?
Sure. So a couple of things. I mean, this is not a serious problem, but then something which we have to be definitely mindful of, especially cycling. See, when you're doing a long distance, you'll be riding through the day and night, and sometimes you just want to go for practice runs or rides early in the morning. No doubt you have to be cautious, as a woman. You'll have to take that extra measure to ensure that, there's always a fellow rider with you. Always ensure that at the end of the day, safety comes first, wherever you are. So you have to, at the end of the day, if you figure out, ways of keeping yourself safe, ensuring that everything is going in place, I think anything is achievable. Also, there are certain challenges which I think which have to be addressed at a much higher level. Just to give an example, there is the National Cycling Championship which happens, and it happened quite recently. It happened in February this year. It happens in different age categories, especially obviously the younger generation, the younger kids. Like there are categories for 16, 20, and much more. So there's also a category for which for men masters. However, there is no category for women masters. So that came as a surprise, because once I completed Brevet, I was like, why not get into shorter distances? Why not get into individual time trials, ITTs, competitions within cycling? And then I thought, why not, maybe I'm not an expert, but let me go and try these at national level. But then what came as a surprise to me was there was no category for women at all for masters. No doubt it was there for younger age groups. So that's when I wrote to the Cycling Federation of India, explaining, why not. And no doubt, when they start, even if they start, my justification was, when you start, maybe there'll be just a very few women who would turn up. But why not, right? That would encourage others to start coming. And I'm sure next year you can see much more participants. So these are the kind of things at a much broader level, as a society, the perspective has to change. But yeah, I'm sure soon we'll get there. And at the end of the day, we as people who are promoters of sports, we should put conscious effort as a team to, irrespective of whether our efforts go futile or not, we should continue to strive. And that's my focus, to challenge the system. Why not?
Yeah, you're very right. We need to challenge the system and get certain things in place, because it has not been perceived yet by the other gender. So we need to make a way for ourselves. You're
Yeah.
truly right. Sunita, you're a long distance runner, whereas Chaitra has been talking about cycling. I would like to know, what kind of challenges have you faced?
Yes, I know. Actually, when we started running in 2008, there are hardly any female runners. Uh, Safety was an issue, but luckily, I joined a group, Hyderabad Runners group. My cousin introduced me to Rajesh Vatsa, and then I came to know about Hyderabad Runners group. So we started training with them. Most of our runs in KBR Park, where it is safe, and we didn't have to worry about SAG support and all. But when we did long runs, we were always with the group. And fortunately, that group, everyone knew everyone, and they were very supportive. And we used to, some female run, always male runners supported, gave company to us, to make sure that we are safe. So we had to be like really careful not to run alone. We were in the KVR Park or with the Hyderabad Runners group. So it was good, but most sometimes we were doing long runs on Saturdays on our own. So those days we had to have our own car supporting us so that we are safe. So we had to take those precautions, and people used to give weird looks when they saw us running alone. So yeah, like nowadays people are used to it. When they see runners, they don't make any comments or they don't uh, make a scene about it. But those days, yeah. So we always ran in a group, the group or in the KBR park, and we had to be really careful about the gear, reflective gear and headlamps if we are running at night time. And we always face the traffic against ran against the traffic to keep an eye on the oncoming traffic. So those safety precautions we had to take. Luckily we were part of Hyderabad Runners group. We got support.
Sunita, you were talking about people running, making fun of us when we are running. I remember when I was doing my first AHM dry run, I think. And I was so tired. It was one of the uphills, and I was running so slowly. I was just trying to get through it. And this auto wala comes and he goes, "Madam, lift chahiye."
Yeah, actually, one of the events in village we organized, we were running and people came on the cycle and said, "Amma, the distance you have to go is far. Why don't you take the cycle and go?" So that's kind of incidents we face, yeah, along the way. Yeah. It's funny how people saw us when we were preparing for Everest base camp. We had a backpack with books in it to make it heavy, and we were walking towards Senkarpalli all the way 45 kilometers. We just wanted to walk and see how long it would take. So Anu and I started walking, and we had a couple of runners accompanying us, but they were not with us. So it was kind of weird. People thought we were running away from home with the backpacks on the Senkarpalli road in the middle of at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock during the day. So it's kind of odd. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of fun incidents.
Yes. But the situation is different now. I mean, you don't see the same things that we saw 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah.
So I think Anu's kind of logged off. She's gotten logged off. So I'll just chat for a while until she comes back in. So that was nice, Divya, for you to be able to share that. Chaitra, what about you? I mean, I think this leads to talk about what has been your weirdest experience, as women that are cycling and running. What's probably been your weirdest experience, Chaitra?
I think running. I think as both Divya and Sunita have mentioned. I think over a period of time, people have understood that what running is, or you don't get those weird stares anymore. So I think when I run, it's normal. I don't think because a lot of people, in fact, if you see. I can see a difference, every person has a particular locality or area which you tend to regularly run, right? In fact, I see the difference, compared to 2020 versus earlier. Now, people, maybe because they are scared of the COVID and, they want to increase the immunity and all that stuff, the number of people who have started picking up is more. I mean, the awareness has become more. So you don't get that weird stress. However, one funny incident is, when you're doing these brevets, especially when you're going through all these countryside and, villages and all these places, right? people will start, they'll be on their two-wheelers and their cycle, and they'll start following you, and they'll be like, what are you training for? Are you a cop? Are you into services? Are you this? And is there a prize money for this? That's the standard question. What's the cash? How much money are you getting? So when you actually tell them this is for fun, and I'm actually paying to do this, they'll be like, why are you wasting your time? So so these kind of and this happens like very normally, the entire, let's say you're on the road for like 5 hours, like every half an hour you would get someone who is just riding along with you.
Awesome. That's great. Okay, so Anu is back now. So Anu, we were just talking about what were their weirdest experiences, in running, and Divya was talking about somebody in auto stopping and saying, "Do you need a ride? Do you need to kind of me to drop me?" So we were just sharing about their weird experiences. Back to you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, and sorry for the interruption. My internet just gave away, so sorry for the interruption. It's nice to know about all the weird things that you were talking about. Okay, let's shift to the more serious ones now. Divya, you've been sustaining running as a form of fitness for a while now. Could you tell us why? Why is it that you do, and why is it that you do what you're doing? Have you seen any health benefits specifically related to women? Could you just share some of the benefits with our viewers?
Sure, Anu. Like I said, I started running because of my thyroid imbalances, right? So during the postpartum time, this active lifestyle, trying to take it up and persevering in it, showed a lot of improvement in my metabolism, be it in weight management, be it to keep away the postpartum depression and the mood swings that we all go through. It really made a lot of difference keeping an active lifestyle during that time. It always after it was always hard to be on the treadmill for that given amount of time, but once you finish it, there is an immediate boost in your mood, in your perspective. You have such a positive outlook, with the adrenaline rush kicking in, the good hormones fluttering around. So it helped a lot during that postpartum time. And I also
Yeah, can
noticed
you
that.
just tell me? Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but I was just thinking about that one instant when you told me, you were training for a marathon, and then how your thyroid levels dropped.
Yes.
Could you just share that particular experience, because a lot of us women these days have thyroid problems. So if it could help anyone out there, that would be really beneficial.
Yes. So what I noticed was as my mileage kept increasing, from my 10Ks to halves and full marathons, as my mileage kept increasing and my training load kept increasing, the thyroxine is what we take, right? The daily dosage of thyroxine, the dosage kept coming down. I always used to have to go back to the doctor every quarter, every 2 months, even saying, okay, again it's imbalanced. And then every time he would reduce the dosage. So it came down to such a low dosage at one point when I was doing my full marathon trainings. So it was a wonder even to the doctor, to know that it could come down to such low levels, the need for external supplements. And it all had to do with the metabolism, that the active lifestyle keeps up the metabolism, and the need for external supplements comes down. So that's one. And I have a genetic tendency towards cholesterol in my family, and at an early stage itself, I had that borderline watch what you're eating kind of levels. But as I started running more and more regularly, even the cholesterol levels have dropped, and I'm always at the lower limits now, where I don't have to bother. Not like I but the active lifestyle that we have makes sure that they stay at the lower limits. And also during COVID, actually my whole family, all four of us got affected by COVID. The same day we all got positive. And but the surprising thing was, we all had fever for half a day, and we were quarantined for 2 weeks. But the whole time during quarantine, we were continuing our active lifestyle on our roof, in our backyard by ourselves, and we were able to keep up our fitness even during our quarantine period. So, you know, a
You're
lot of
an
our
amazing
friends.
bunch. You're an amazing bunch, Divya. I should say that in COVID, you could, with COVID, you could keep yourself fit. Hats off to you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. All this requires a lot of juggling, right? Woman is known for her multitasking abilities, but to what extent are we able to do all this? You need to strike a balance, your work, your fitness, your life. So how do you go about juggling all this? And then we have a similar question from one of the Facebook.
So I'll go ahead and start answering that.
Yeah, Divya. So I think
Um,
Lahari Supraneni is also asking a very similar question as to, how are you all able to manage this along with all the other commitments that you have, right? And in fact, every time we talk about multitasking, it reminds me of Durga, right? I mean, holding all the, every weapon in one hand and sitting on the lion and still the leg on the Ashura, that's kind of multitasking and women, I guess. So a little bit of insight from all three of you, how you handle that. That would be great.
Yeah, so I always say, you get up in the morning, you finish your run, you come back, and then you actually start running through life. Right? When I was training for the full marathon, it was hard to keep going out and doing that because of the time constraints. So I used to have to do it in my own community. I have a 700-meter loop of concrete road, and I used to do 32 kilometers in that 700-meter loops. I used to get up at 2:30 in the morning and head out, go out the door, finish my run, come back by 6:30, to school, and then go to swimming directly. I had to make 22 dabbas for them, school boxes, lunch boxes for them. I'd wake them up, and there's a whole lot of planning that goes into it. It seems like we're doing a lot, but if you plan it properly, it can be done. So the evening before, I would pre-make a few of the ingredients for. And also, once I send them off to school, I have to go to office. I taught myself to sleep in the car. I used to get an office car, luckily. So I taught myself to sleep in the car so I could get my rest. And then I used to keep foam rollers in the office. I used to stretch in between my meetings. I used to continuously do under the table strengthening exercises, for the calves and the shins, the arch exercises. It also helped me keep awake during those long meetings. Then once office is done, I had to come back and hit the gym because strengthening again is very important. You can't just keep running. You have to strengthen your muscles to provide for the running, right? So there I used to research a lot of compound exercises that would target multiple muscles at the same time. So that would help me in spending lesser time in the gym, at the same time making sure I was strengthened enough. So these were some of the tips and tricks that we used to try. And then dinner again comes. So you pre-plan a lot of this during the weekends. I used to use the weekends to plan all this and execute during the weekdays.
Yeah. How about you, Sunita? How would you manage your lifestyle?
Yeah, actually, when I got into long distance running, actually, I'm mother of three, and my sons were 14, 12, and my youngest daughter was 4 years when I started long distance runs. So it was quite a challenge because I had to wake them up in the morning by 7 o'clock to send them to school. So I would finish all my runs, whatever distance I had to do before 7, and I would come home and give them breakfast, and I had to take care of them. So I would set the alarm according to the distance I had to run to make sure that I'm home before 7 o'clock. So luckily with the running, it is done in the morning. It's not like disturbing your rest of the day. So I could do the rest of the things that I wanted to do or I had to do during the day. Only during travel, I had to make little bit adjustments, and my husband would pitch in that time when I had to travel for races. My really social life, I cannot say it is compromised. It's all about time management, and apart from running and taking care of home, I was interested in many other things like traveling with friends on cycling trips, and another thing I wanted to learn was Kuchipudi dance. So while training for marathons and ultra marathons, I was also going to Kuchipudi classes. So I did that for a few years. So I could manage all that, with a little bit of planning. So I didn't compromise on anything because of running. So happy about it. So
Yeah, it's all about time management, Sunita. That's very
yeah.
true. How about you, Chaitra? You're a young mother. How did you get about to doing all that you're doing right now?
Just to add, I would say rather variation or a perspective, right? As much as, I'm sorry, I'm taking sides here, but women are very good jugglers. We know how to manage our time, and no doubt everyone are. But since because of the multiple roles and responsibilities we play, we tend to know the value of time management. But having said that, a bit different perspective is, as much as we want to have it all, we want to be jugglers, we want to make justice to all the roles which we play to, we can so many times we cannot do it all. Let's accept that, you cannot fulfill everyone's requirements or your own requirements. And that's where the way I see it is, as it's absolutely okay to take help. You don't have to be on top of everything, as long as there are people whom you can delegate the work to. As long as you have a good support system, and people are there always to help you around, take care of things. We should, that is something which will then give us some more time to start thinking about our passion. It'll open up our time. And at the end of the day, it's all about what we want in life, right? And I always believe that if I want to do something, with true passion, if I make up my mind, if I have the zeal to do it, no doubt, hook or crook, we will find the time to do it. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah, so Lavri, I hope it answers your question. It is all about time management and a way of looking at things differently. If you could grab some help, please use the help to, pursue your kind of fitness. At the same time, it's again all about your perspectives, your life, and your time management, right? Okay. Actually, we are running a little short of time. We do have some more questions, but we have a lot of viewers asking us questions. I just want to wrap up with a few more questions before we head to the Facebook questions. Okay. Now, I want you girls to tell me what drives you to this passion, and what is your piece of advice on sustaining fitness as a way of life. See, this whole webinar is how do you sustain fitness as a way of life, because a lot of people end up just doing a race. They sign up for a race, and they've done the race, and it's a tick off from their bucket list. But this webinar is intended, we want people to stick to fitness as a way of life. So what drives you to do this, and how would you advise the viewers out there to sustain this fitness? Chaitra, could you go ahead first?
Sure. It is, as Anu just mentioned, a lot of people do it as just a checklist, or putting a tick mark. But then it's running or anything, any form of sports is more of an addiction, a positive addiction. If you can incorporate that into your daily lifestyle, and to your regular life, and start making a difference, not just to yourself, but for all the people around you, your all family. You are actually directly or indirectly, you're causing an impact to the people around you, and not just to yourself, right? So let's say you are running, you're just going to a park and running. A lot of people, or let's say you speak to your friends about your active lifestyle. It's directly or indirectly you impact their life too. It's something which, so whether you know it or not, It will help you to make a difference for many other lives, and to see from your own perspective, right? I always tell this: age is just a number. If a lot of people take a step back because they assume that okay, I cannot start, I cannot run, I cannot do this something at this point in time. As I think Divya just mentioned, a couple of instances where how she started, and how what was seeming impossible at that point in time is something which is very easy. So and that's so true. Once you started, it becomes a part of your life. So what I would advise the newbies and the ones who would want to take fitness, please go for it. As long as you have the perseverance, determination to do it, you will do it, and it will help you in a long run, not just for you, for all the people around you. So you should.
What about you, Divya? How do you feel about it? What are your suggestions, to sustain this fitness activity?
I agree with Chaitra. It gives such a positive outlook to yourself, your self-esteem, your moods. It's such an upper. Every step, extra step you take every day is like a better version of yourself. Um, uh, I think Chaitra covered a lot of that. What I see as one of the reasons why people drop out after their first or second races is because they get into injuries, right, Anu? I always keep saying, if you want to learn swimming, you won't just jump into the pool. You'll catch a trainer, you'll try to learn swimming first, and then start trying to swim. But running being such an easy thing to do, people think it naturally comes and you can just go run and try, and you can continue to run. But there are a lot of people who don't know how to run properly. Their strides, given their starting weight, if they're little on the heavier side, they end up with injuries in the first 2-3 months, and then they give it up completely. My suggestion to people is, if you want to start running, take it slowly. Don't get over enthusiastic about the mileage or the speed and try to bring it up quickly. And also, if you have a mentor close to you who is a little more experienced than you, do take tips from them on how to better your strides, how to better your style of running, so you don't get into injuries. And also strengthen your muscles. As long as your muscles are strong, that surround your knees and ankles, you can stay away from injury and sustain this active lifestyle for much longer. And that is my piece of advice to starters.
And just to add to Divya's point, right? What was very difficult at like the previous times or the previous generation, where knowledge was not easy to get. These days, information, data is readily available. It could be in the form of available on the internet, or people having enough knowledge, people around you having enough knowledge. So there's there's an ocean of data available. It's just that you have to make yourself show that interest and explore more.
Yeah. And Sunita,
and also Hyderabad Runners is organizing so many events, and they're online also giving mentorship, right? And the Couch to 5K programs that they are running are helpful for a lot of people to start off with and get to know what they need to know to sustain it. So kudos to HR for it.
Yeah, kudos to HR. I agree with you. Yeah. Yes, Sunita, you've been out there for the longest time now. So could you tell us, how you've been able to sustain this activity, and, could you give some advice to, to all the people out there who have just taken it, as a single race, dropped out and said, this is not for me, So, how would you advise them to sustain this kind of fitness? What would your take be on this?
Yes, the satisfaction I get from running and achieving is what, let me keep the passion. I continue to do it because of the satisfaction. I advise, everyone, especially women, not to set limits. Don't think you cannot do it. I see a lot of women coming to me and saying, no, because you are getting support from your husband or support from your kids, you are able to do it. And I tell them, no, if you start, they will support you. It's the other way around. If they see how passionate you are about your lifestyle or active lifestyle, they will support you. I mean, eventually they will. So don't think they will not support you. It is difficult. I can't do it. So don't assume all these limitations. And I advise you to join a group, have a group and announce your goals. Okay, next month I'm running 5K. So the minute you try to become lazy or drift from that goal, they will remind you. They won't let you stop. So have smaller goals and long-term and short-term goals, and announce those goals to your group, your running group, your friends group. So you are motivated. You don't give up because you told them you are going to do it. There's no way you can stop, right? So those things will help you continue your active lifestyle.
Yeah.
So don't
Thank
have
you
any
for that.
limitations.
Yeah.
Everyone can do it. If I could start at age of 40 and continue for last 12 years, I'm sure everyone can do it.
Yeah. One last question from my side. How do you see yourself 5 years from now? What are your aspirations? Actually, this question has been posed even from a Facebook friend for Chaitra from Naresh. How do you see yourself in 2 years? So, it's a general question for all of you.
So yeah, I'll take that. Um, uh, Definitely, I would like to be a new version of myself. That's what I see in 2 years from now or 5 years from now. Whether it is running, how I can get better at running, how I can go, how can I can improve my speed, how can I improve my style of running, or how I could improve my mileage.
Sunita, you could
So
go ahead.
Okay, I see myself running with my grandchild. Okay, 5 years from now, I'm sure I'll be running, and I'll be running with my grandkids.
Okay, Divya?
Same with me. I mean, there's no reason to change anything about the active lifestyle we are following. The distances might change, but running will continue. And maybe if I have more time on my hands, I might even take up training more newbies. But yeah, we're just going to continue the same.
Awesome. So here's wishing, huge family runs, friendship runs together for years to come. And I think we have a little bit of time. And Sunita, there's a question that's directed to you, and I think it would be great if the others can also pick up and answer. This is from Raghu, Molugu Raghu, on one of our audience, and it's actually spoken about how much you're an inspiring personality in the running community, Sunita and Divya and Chaitra, and keep it up, keep inspiring us. And so, Sunita, can we know your next marathon or ultra marathon in this year or 2022? And how's your preparation going for it? Any inputs on ultra marathons per se? How do you train for that? And maybe, same way even for the breves that you do, right? For the, long cycling that you do. Could you share a little bit of insights on that? We can start with Sunita and then maybe Divya and Chaitra can add on.
Yeah, thank you, Raghu. We actually need to give a lot of time for ultra marathon training. It cannot be a shortcut. You have to give time. Just like marathon, for ultra marathons, it's much more. And I'm able to train for ultra marathons because I listen to my body. So far, I never had any injury, even during ultra marathons. I listen to my body and take time and train well. So that helps me to run ultra distances. That is something I do enjoy actually. Unlike the speed and all that, my take is to run slow and long. That's what I enjoy.
Yeah. Sorry again, I had to step out because of the internet problem. We have a few questions from the Facebook viewers. This is from Tondapalli Srinivas. What advices do you give to what advice would you give to do your first full marathon? Any training plans that you could suggest, Sunita? This is for Tondapalli Srinivas.
It depends on your fitness level, where you stand. depending on how much distance you are currently able to run, you have to give time for that. And you have to focus on strength training, stretching. Also, it's not just about running all the time. So generally it is, the information is available, the training plans are available, but you listen to your body. Don't try to run with someone who is much faster or fitter than you. So you take a training program, give enough rest. You need to take strength training, stretching, resting, all into consideration along with running. I hope it answers your question.
Yes, I'm sure it does. We have a question for Divya. This is from Sirisha Santosh regarding nutrition. Can you suggest some micronutrient supplements, especially for women runners? Divya, could you answer this question for us?
I'm not sure if I can say out brands.
You could, I think.
Anyway, there are multivitamins that are specifically catered to women. The bottle will actually say multivitamin and women. Other than the multivitamin, I also suggest omega fish oil and collagen and extra calcium. These are three things additionally that I suggest for women to take. And of course, if your hemoglobin is on the lower side, iron supplements.
Okay, and I think we just have time for one more question. All the other questions we'll be taking it offline. Sunita Mulugu Ragura wants to know what your next where your next ultra marathon is going to be, and he would like to get some tips on ultra marathoning.
I actually kind of answered to that, but anyway, ultra marathons, I don't have anything planned right now. Hopefully, actually in 2020, I was supposed to go to Antarctica Marathon, which got postponed due to pandemic. So I'm hoping it is going to be the next year. So I think that will be my next race, 2022 March, Antarctica Marathon. So I'll be training for that, and I don't have anything signed up right now.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sunita, Chaitra, Divya, for giving us such valuable insights. We really hope that, all the information that you've given us, all the encouragement and the motivation that you've given us will move us one step ahead, and, we continue to take fitness as a way of life. We are really hoping that, now it's 25% women in running, and 75% women. So we are hoping the number increases to, I'm hoping at least it should be 70% women as it is in US, and 30% men. Let's hope for that. And thank you so much for joining us today for this webinar. We really had a good time chatting with you, and thank you so much. Over to you, Nitya.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anu.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anu. Thank you, Venati.
I think Nitya wants us to talk for a longer time.
I'm here. Thank you, Anuradha, for facilitating today's webinar. A few key takeaways from today's conversation are that anyone can take up running or any specific sport with the right amount of passion, determination, and drive. Even if there's no path to go on, we can always make our own path, no matter how many stares and looks we get, and push through. There are new habits and new hobbies to learn and grasp throughout life, always. With a nutritious, balanced diet and training plan, fitness is no uphill climb for anyone. There is no end to multitasking in this day and age, especially for women. Thank you so much to all of you for these valuable inputs. You are a perfect inspiration to many young people out there who take up fitness and sports regularly, and your time management is truly awesome. Our deepest gratitude for taking the time out and sharing your experiences and learning with us today. And to our audience, thank you for spending time with us today. The recording of this event will be available on our Hyderabad Runners Facebook, as well as the Airtel Hyderabad Marathon YouTube page. Please come back to watch again and share it on your social media profiles and to others who can benefit #Hyderabad Runners, #Beyond the Track. We will be back next Saturday at the same time, and it being Women's Month, we'll be back with a woman expert and yet another interesting topic for you. Until then, this is Nitya Ravuri from Hyderabad Runners signing off. Stay safe and stay healthy. Bye.